We're going to start away with race number 1 on the card with Cavallo Veloce lining up at the top of the book, dropping out of the Hawke's Bay Guineas, the son of O'Reilly. 270 and 125, Simply Sacred 290 and 130. Filly by Blackfriars on debut for Tony Pike and Lee Thinnis. And Super Static, $9 and 260 for Margaret Falconer and Vinnie Colgan, third up, the daughter of Super Easy. Are they willing to go Stephen Hunt with the Hawke's Bay Guineas form around the race favourite in the first?
Absolutely, Matt. Look, we went up 290 each of two, Cavallo Veloce and Simply Sacred, the debut runner for the Tony Pike stable. Lee Thinnis doing the riding. But just in the last 10 to 15 minutes, there's been a decent push on number 1, Cavallo Veloce, to get it into $2.70 and looks set to start favourite in the first over the 1,200 metres. Finished midfield in the Hawke's Bay Guineas. Big drop back in grade here. Drawn well in barrier 6. Sean Mackay does the riding and it leads multis 280, plays around about 160 and Simply Sacred. So that also gives us a strong indication that the number 1 will start favourite. A little bit of specking around Rossa Fior, the 3-year-old filly by Fioronte, making its debut for the Richardson Parker stable. At the moment, currently a losing result from its opening line of $15. That's where it trades. And Donna Imelda, the other first up runner who we're a little bit cautious on just to see where the market would tell us. It's quite friendless at the moment, $8 out a couple of ticks to $10. So best back run in the first, Cavallo Veloce.
Cameron Lammas won't be riding today at Tauranga, so Anna Jones takes the ride aboard. LMA Clampett in the first, and we'll give you those updates as we build through the preview. Here's the speed map for the first race on the card with Super Static and Cavallo Veloce both pressing forward. Never an easy thing to work out the speed maps, Brendan, for these maiden 3-year-olds, but I'm interested to hear your assessment, especially around the first starter, Simply Sacred.
Yeah, look, she's a horse that I really do like, Matthew. I thought her trial was terrific out of Te Awamutu, considering what the horse was able to do by sitting back in this trial and showing a really good turn of foot. And what ended up out of this trial is it was the fastest of the maiden trial wins for the day over 1,000 metres. There were actually 8 trials for the day over 1,000 metres, and this was the second fastest, with the fastest being the open 1,000 metre heat. Just sits back and is really nice here late in the piece, centred track. I just love the way she gets into her stride, into her work here, Simply Sacred. So Lee Thinnis and Tony Pike team up here. Look, Cavallo Veloce's got the runs on the board and really does look to be the one to beat off the Hawke's Bay Guineas form. A stakes placing on the first day of the carnival in behind Cyber Attack. To be honest with you, Matt, I'm pretty happy to play a Quinella around these two. I thought 290 the pair, and as you heard there from Stephen, a little shift in the market to Cavallo Veloce, which is at $2.70. So, look, I was happy around a 1-6-6-1 combination here in the first race of the day, and maybe try and play a cheeky Quinella around the two.
Yeah, OK, around the $2.30, $2.50 mark at this stage with the tote playing around that Quinella pool. Let's go over to the second race on the card. Christmas at the Races, November 17, maiden over 1,200 metres. And the rider for Kalen, runner number 11, is now Samantha Collett, $21 and $5.50. Sacred Accord for Lee Thinnis and Tony Pike. A 3-year-old son of O'Reilly is lining up on debut off the back of a trial win over 935 metres. Is there a money trail after that trial win, Stephen Hunt?
Look, there's a little one, Matt. To be honest, a few scratchings have come out of this race, which has turned this market a little bit upside down, it has to be said. Sacred Accord, again, from the Tony Pike stable, Lee Thinnis doing the riding. A quick touch on Lee Thinnis, a $2.20 hot favourite for today's Hanui Farm J Challenge on option 209. So punt into Leith if you're confident he can take out the J Challenge today. But back into this particular race, a fairly light turnover race. I'm not going to give a false lead to punters and viewers watching. Just keep an eye on the current prices, in particular the favourite and Sacred Accord at $3 from an opening line of $3.20 this morning. But yeah, light turnover, hard to give a lead.
Brendan, can you give us any confidence in this race?
Look, I really like one in this race, Matthew, and it's runner number 2 in this race, and Our Craftsman. I thought this horse was super on debut out of Te Araha, considering where this horse ended up on a day where it needed to be on speed. This horse has come from well back in the field to finish into 3rd position. So today with the better barrier draw, I thought can play a very big part in this race today, Our Craftsman, over the 1,200 metres when last presented. And the key factor to this run as well, as he's been some form out of the race. The 4th horse in this race was Phoenix Rising, who has come out and won nicely in a fairly decent race out of Waipa on Wednesday. So look where the horse is. It's the grey near the back of the field, and the red cap has to make up many lengths in this race. A race that was won by a horse who got a very good sit in transit, and Bravissimo, who was able to just peel out of a trail and finish the race off and win well. Phoenix Rising in the blue cap closer to the rail comes out and be as a race winner next. This horse was really good to the line. If this horse can be a pair or two closer with the barrier draw, maybe that gives this horse an opportunity to be in the front half of the field. Gee, I thought this brings him into the race, 3.5. I was really happy to get involved in this horse today, this runner and our Craftsman. This is Sacred Accord. Now, he's a son of O'Reilly. There's a bit of race form out of this as well with Go Kara, who has run second in this trial, has come out and been placed on Wednesday out of Waipa as well. Trekked wide throughout the trial for the better ground, 4 wide on speed, and races away to win by 3 1/4 lengths. So it was a pretty soft trial win in the end by this runner in Sacred Accord. 2 on top, going to make it a bet as well for our bank today, Matthew. Liking the chances around our Craftsman in front of 5, 6 and 9.
Thank you, Brendan. That's race number 2 on the card. 350 and 140 is the price around Brendan's top selection there. And yes, some very good points. Racing against the pattern last start, always good moving forward. We move over to race number 3 now, and it is the Classic Cuisine Catering, rating 65 over 1,400 metres. And Cameron Lemus didn't have a ride in this, so there's no changes. Stephen, place 6 in a double, starts off on race number 3. Methuselah 650, Code Cracker 330.
Code Cracker, best back runner in the first 24 hours of trading. Matt, number 6 here, see at $3.30. Mirrors that price on the tote as well. Early stages to tick over 3K in the pool. Excuse me. From an opening line of $4. So best back for the very consistent Code Cracker. A little bit of specking around the second favourite in Matazulam, as there always is. $6.50, always puts himself in the race, and that's a key asset around gate par. So $6.50, very solid in that second line of betting. Poppy Star out 1 point, 6 to 7. Marsu 8 out to 9. El Coolio, who, look, the connection's got plenty at gate par a few weeks back. I think we were trading at 101 early in the morning. It got as short as 61, 41s on the tote. El Coolio with a reinvested here, 17s when betting commenced yesterday afternoon. It's now to $10 in that fifth line of betting. So it's jumped 3 or 4 spots on the betting ladder. El Coolio, number 1, and currently a losing result at 10. But best back runner, no surprise, the favourite in Code Cracker, 4 into 330.
Methuselah, no doubt, will feature in the speed map, which we're about to take a look at with his early tempo. He draws out of barrier number 8. Oh, he can from the inside and pursued, jumping from barrier number 2. What do you make of this horse, Brendan? Methuselah, if he's going to map forward and get an easy lead?
Look, he's a horse, as we heard through the Hawke's Bay Carnival, that Peter Mackay was quite surprised that he hadn't won a race before he actually did win a race this campaign. He'd been so close up in a number of decent races. Of course, that was the race that Sean Mackay was able to make the right choice and go for this one over Langkawi when winning on the first day of the Hawke's Bay Carnival. So, look, he's a hope in the race. I thought it was a very niggly race overall, though, a tricky one to try and assess. And it does give a chance to the one horse in El Coolio being a part of this because, of course, it was a 65 winner last time out, as Stephen Hunt pointed out when going around at 100 to 1. And there was some big tickets, especially on track here with the 100 to 1 on it. But, of course, it was a maiden winner in a 65 grade. So it's in the same grade again. Lee Finnis takes the ride. So why not take your chances again if you did like the horse when last presented at the big price? It was just that sort of race. I found it difficult to try and play into. Probably a race I'm not that keen betting into overall. But I did go with the 2 and Methuselah on top. But probably a bit of watch on the El Coolio, trying to back up that 65 win from last time.
Yeah, OK, it's $10 and $3.40 currently. El Coolio, Methuselah $6.50. Race number 4 is the Oasis Bar and Grill, rating 65. This over 2,100 metres, scratchings of 5 and also 8. Charlie Rose is the favourite. Third up for Matthew Cameron. And the Baker Forsman team by Piero will wear the Jamora Bloodstock colours. Last start was 5.5 lengths off Dream On and 137 for the 1,600 at Matamata. 464 Prodigal Son for Team Rogerson, and Ryan Elliott draws out a little wider. Basso at $5 and Fly to the Moon at 7s. Stephen Hunt, I thought Basso looked quite well placed in this race. Is there any lead around that runner?
Solid in that third line, Matt, at $5. Prodigal Son, best back runner, but clearly not a huge push for this individual, but again, a light turnover race. $5.20 on opening now to $4.60. Remains in that solid line in second place here, and behind Charlie Rose, who Punters got burnt last start on this 4-year-old mare now. by Piero Charlie Rose at Matamata a few weeks back. Stepping over 2,100 metres, first time over ground this prep. Punters are willing to give one more chance on the Baker Forsman runner. $4 an opening, been backed into $3.80. Couple they have spec'd at longer odds. Number 9, Al Jody, 12 into 10, and Nidhi Nadeem, who won its maiden after 26 starts. They're looking to go 2 on the bounce here, and totally not friendless here. 18 into 14, Nidhi Nadeem from barrier 7. So best bet runner, Prodigal Son, just in front of Charlie Rose, Ubasso, and Al Jody and Nidhi Nadeem, best backed at longer odds.
Okay, 2,100 metres, the speed map not as influential as if we were over the shorter trips, but moderate tempo you could say here. Brendan Popplewell, Ubasso has had a couple of runs at rating 72, looks quite well placed here.
Yeah, and look, and so often in races, with staying races, if it is moderate tempo, well then it plays to those that can try and pinch it in front so often as well. Look, Charlie Rose is the first time over ground, and look, always like to play to the rule of maybe just trying to see a horse and get a line on a horse running over ground and maybe just playing a watching game. So the horse is short enough though, isn't it, at $3.80 is Charlie Rose. I was happy to give this horse another chance, Ubasso. This was a runner who was beaten here at Tauranga back on the 19th of October. Now, of course, 2 starts ago, she was able to take a more forward position from her barrier draw and took a trail in behind Final Suggestion and was able to battle on well beaten 2.5 lengths. Again, a race that was dominated by fairly close to tempo. On this occasion, the horse got back and look, she was doing her best work at the concluding stages of this race, and it was a rating 72 stayers race. This is a drop back again to a rating 65. So the form lines, there is enough there to try and work through to suggest that she's a horse that may be worth including and having a little each way on Ubasso. Overall, I thought it was another difficult race to try and really get serious about. Prodigal Son's a horse who's been here a few times and will appreciate the trip and maybe a little dig in the ground as well here. So if I was betting on the race, though, looking at the 4, the other runner that probably takes a little bit of interest is Fly to the Moon, who was so good in a 72, 2 starts ago on a better track, then got some dig in the ground where we saw the horse win on a heavy track and didn't quite deliver it last time to the races. So maybe back to a 65, a little watch on Fly to the Moon.
Okay, thank you, Brendan. Over we go now to race number 5, the first leg of the late. Quaddy Mills Reef Winery, rating 72. This is with Bocky at $7 and $2.60 as the race favourite. There's a few on the $9 mark here. Stephen, talk to me about this market.
This is a ripper of a race, Matt. I'm expecting a high rating to come out of this race and plenty of winners to go forward coming out of here later on this afternoon, and it just shows on Bocky's current favourite price tag of $7 from an opening line of $6.50. Not friendless, but a loose favourite, has to be said. Did run second first up after a long break in behind Media Sensation, and that form's been frank last Saturday at Ellerslie. So Bocky $7, well supported in front of Bowden at $8 from an opening line of $7.50. So just gone out 1 tick. Stand Firm at $9, Power Dream, and also Lee Castell at $9. Lee Castell's been the best backed at those horses that are travelling at $9. Aline Grace has been well supported at a $10 price. I think Des Coppins tipped this out all the way from Flemington this morning. So he's had his supporters. Aline Grace, who was hitting the line well and sectionally, was very good last start at Gate Par. Popstar Princess, again, well supported at $10. Inca Warrior at 16 has had money and been well specced in that middle market. So, look, I don't want to put off any punters here. If you like one, get on and look for the big return because, like I say, it's a pretty strong rating, 72, 1300.
Okay, looking forward to that. It goes around at 2:45, the rating 72. Speed map here. Popstar Princess, who jumps out of barrier number 7 for Lindsay Satherley, is 4th up. Bocky out of 6 with Jake Bayliss. Descendants, Power Dream, Neeson and Bowden, all with a little bit of pace. What do you make of this market, Brendan?
Gee, this is probably outside of the open handicap today. This is the undercard feature, isn't it? Race number 5. Just had probably as much as up-to-date information as I can get on a runner in this race, which I'll talk to you very shortly. Let's first of all have a look at Bocky, who did run second out of Rotorua when last presented to the races. As we know, very good 2-year-old from last season, was good enough to be placed in the Karaka Million. This horse possesses a bit of speed. As we heard from think it was Stephen who was working on this day. This horse just got a little bit cold in the market, and there was some other runners that was a bit of a push for. Now, obviously, it's a good race to take a look into because you've got Media Sensation who comes down the outside, and also the horse who was in last position at More Wonders come out and run super last Saturday as well out of Trentham. So you'd imagine this horse is going to be a big improver coming into this, but it is a 3-year-old taking on some older horses. Lurker Steel, just spoke to Vinnie Colgan actually, just as he arrived here on track, and this was a horse he did ride at the trials. He felt as though the horse trialled up really nicely. A horse who probably didn't quite jump that cleanly and was able to sit back and work into it, but a horse who did impress him enough as well, though, in the Cambridge Breeders when he was last aboard this runner, of course, back on the 28th of April. She's a horse who potentially just might need one as well today, but gee, I'm also happy to take a little risk on her at a price, if she was to be able to get herself in a decent little spot, because I thought this trial was pretty good here. As you can see, Vincent's got a nice hold of the horse to the line when finishing into second position. Just a little underrated, I thought. This is a type that's trained locally here, Lurker Steel by Mark Blackie, getting around $10. I'm just happy to play a horse at that price and play an unknown game if you're going to get $10. And this is Power Dream. Now, this is a race that we can get a line on 2 runners because Popstar Princess is going to be that speed in the race. This race here had a lot of speed in it, and she was the one that was clearly the quickest. And of course, we've known that with her. She's always shown that early acceleration, but this was a good race to really see that acceleration again because he was out wide speed most of it, and she just cleared it and got straight to the Dulux, did Popstar Princess. So she plays a part in the speed of the race. Power Dream's a horse who can get on speed, but the barrier draw makes it difficult. So look, it could be a race that should be genuine and a race that you're going to want to keep a very close eye on. I'll have a little ticket on Lurker Steel each way.
Okay, thanks, Brendan. Lurker Steel there, $9 and $2.30 in the hands of Vinnie Colgan. We go to race number 6 now. It is the Chester's Plumbing and Bathroom Open Handicap. This over 1,300 metres. The return of Embellish, $2.40 and $1.10. Sleeping Beauty, $4.50. We spoke to Lance O'Sullivan a little earlier on. He would have preferred worse track conditions than what they do get. Your Way at $5 is an interesting runner here. Stephen Hunt, the former Australian galloper. But all eyes will be on last year's Group 1 2000 Guineas winner Embellish.
Yeah, and he's pretty forward from what I'm seeing, money indication-wise, around Embellish, the son of Zavabil. It's a hard price to gauge on currently. $2.50 on opening, been backed into $2.40. Did touch $2.30 on the scratchings of Southern Icon and De Niro. Just eased back out to $2.40. I think it's almost found its mark. I'd be very surprised if it started anywhere under $2 Embellish. There has been support for Sleeping Beauty. I mean, my records and ratings and what I saw on Matamata a few weeks ago on times, it played more like a dead 6 and a slow 8. So don't rule out Sleeping Beauty having a good performance, even though it's a dead 4 today on the back of that win at Matamata. Your Way is an interesting runner, again, from the Baker Forsman stable. It's had 3 or 4 trials leading to this. You'd think it's forward enough. It's won twice when resuming over a 90-day break, Your Way. We just wanted the market to dictate this price around Your Way, and at $5 from what I'm seeing, I think it will be an easer in trading and maybe $6 plus come later on this afternoon. Consensus, pretty quiet at $12. Rich Billy Marsh has been the one that they've spec'd. No surprise, normally a losing result, Rich Billy, particularly around gate par where it can get the lead, hunt round the corner and be a hard horse to catch. So at $12, that is a losing result, but it's all about Embellish, $2.50 into $2.40, but I think it's found its mark, Matt.
Yeah, okay, Rich Billy Marsh, Jason Tarn keen to give it a push on the first call yesterday. What's your assessment of this race, Brendan, and do you have concerns about Embellish getting too far off the pace?
Yeah, look, what I take from his trial is he looks ready to go. I think that's a key point that we can take from him. What's the other key point is he's going to be a big improver out of the race as well, isn't he, Embellish? The race that will be set up by Rich Billy Marsh for sure. Don't be surprised if Rich Billy Marsh gives a pretty big sight. It's not just going to be the speed run in the race. It does operate so well around here at Tauranga. Could she steal it? Could she be a horse that could steal the race as well? Here is Embellish's trial, and as I said, he was put in this trial and he's done a nice job on them, and this will just clean him up nicely for today, the 2000 Guineas winner from last season. So tight enough in the market. Do you want to play horses that you've seen that have got some runs behind them, the likes of Sleeping Beauty, the likes of a Rich Billy Marsh? This would be their best opportunity to try and beat a horse like Embellish for sure, with them having more runs on the board compared to him. Look, Sleeping Beauty, look, Stephen is right. Those track conditions out of Matamata certainly played a lot better than a slow 8. Even though Lance has those concerns with her on a slightly better surface, just remember this is at 3:30, this race, and look, there is rain about, so don't be completely put off that she's a forlorn hope, but I do believe that she's a mare that maybe doesn't mind that the track conditions with where they are in that dead bracket anyway. She doesn't need to be a heavy 11, heavy 10 horse. Obviously, we saw her put those runs together in a lower grade on the heavy surfaces, but I don't want to completely rule her out. Is she a sort of horse that can get a nice suck-along trip just in behind? She might have to lead the rest of the pack up towards Rich Billy Marsh, but I thought it was a good ride by Darren Dennis when last presented to the races aboard this horse in Sleeping Beauty. And Darren's riding well. He's a young apprentice who's picking up the winners regularly. Overall in the race, probably going to have a little sneaky towards her with a chance, and probably her best chance to beat a horse like Embellish. Really watching Consensus with the eye towards some better racing. Even the runner 2 horse in the race, and Giovanna Canaletto, a former Hong Kong galloper who's been placed behind Worth in a Hong Kong derby. He's bowed 2 tendons. He's a horse that we'll be watching today with an eye of maybe on some summer prizes over the Christmas period maybe for him, but intriguing race.
Yeah, it's the case all day. I think, Brendan, is some of these races are so hard to work out, but as we get through the day and we start to see race patterns add to Tauranga, hopefully we can bet with confidence through the latter part of the cards. 2 races to go. Race number 7 is the AWIN Insurance Brokers rating 72. Stephen Hunt, I want to back Hinarangi here at $4.20. Is there any reason why I shouldn't?
I don't think so, Matty. Open the wallet, big fella. Number 6, Hanarangi. $4.20 on trading, currently from an opening line to $4.50. She's a big gross mare. She's had 2 runs in now. Maddie Cameron sticks aboard. She's won at Gate Par, beating a very good type in Anacita last preparation, and she looks awfully hard to beat here in front of Ticket to Ride at $6 from an opening line of 7. So well supported, the second favourite in Ticket to Ride. Lamia, Stella and Pacquiao, the stablemates, quite friendless in early trading. A little bit of speaking for Tri-Fan number 10 after a nice win last start in rating 62 company. Steps up in grade, down in weights. Open $11, now trading that single figure line of $9, and you do get a bit of a form reference around the source around Code Cracker, who is in one of the earlier programs. So if that manages to do well earlier in the program, it's a good form reference and how you want to invest in Tri-Fan. But best back runner is the 6 in Hinarangi.
Oh, that's just what I wanted to hear, Stephen. I opened the wallet and out came a dead moth and a sushi loyalty card. That was about it, still looking for the cash. Speed map here, Brendan Popple. Well, I'm going to back Hinarangi and looks as though it might lead too.
Yeah, and I suppose the key factor with that sushi loyalty card is, are you close to the 10 click to be able to get yourself some free sushi? Possibly you could get yourself a little prize here with Hinarangi and get you close to that free sushi. Look, a horse who's, as we know, very capable with a couple of runs under the belt. And look, I know a runner that was well supported at Te Rapa when last presented and was beaten 5 lengths, but you just imagine now that she's got to be close to the mark now. I was happy to give a chance to the two runner in this race as well, and Ticket to Ride. She showed that she's gutsy. She's a very tough mare, this horse. She can clearly go in any sort of type of track conditions. We've seen her race in the depths of the winter where she's won 3 from 13 starts on heavy tracks. Remember that race that Billy Pinn won on this horse through July at Awapuni when it had absolutely no weight. But this was only a few weeks ago on a good 3 surface, popped out of the trailing position in a race that was set up with nice genuine tempo, and she was just too strong to the line, beating out Podravina. Winning by a length and a half. Jasmine Fawcett was aboard on this occasion. She stays in the same grade. That means she gets weight relief from Darren Dennis to get down to 57.5 kilos. I was just happy to take a bit of a risk around her and play this runner. Hinarangi is a horse that we're watching today again because, well, probably more than watching, but probably having a little investment because it's close to the mark with it being 3rd up this afternoon. 2 in front of 6, not much between those 2 horses. And then maybe the 10 in Tri-Fan, a horse who's looking to try and step it up from that last start win of rating 65 to a rating 72.
OK, with Valachi Downs, we will get to the last race on the card now from Tauranga, and it sees the running of the Christmas at the Races 14 December Fillies and Mares Maiden with, let me tell you, 340 and 140. Imelda Mary at $4 and Scar Boom at $4.20. Which one are you getting the best push for here, Stephen?
Let me tell you, Matt, like I mentioned at the top of the show, best bet runner on the 8-race program at Tauranga today, number 7, in front of the 6, Imelda Mary, who did go out favourite during the week at $4. Well, let me tell you, was a $4.20 shot. So that's a real good lead and a strong push for the 7 to start favourite from the Stephen Marsh stable, who, like I mentioned earlier on, the stable that is flying at the minute. So let me tell you, best back runner in the last. Look, there's one they've specced at longer odds too. Probably one of the best backed in this middle market up and down the program as well is number 2, Coberchon. Coberchon at $9 currently from an opening line of $15. And Drew White at Te Rapa last start got back and ran home okay sectionals late in the piece. It's drawn barrier 2 this time in, so Coberchon well supported in that single figure line, but best back runner is, let me tell you, in front of Imelda Mary. So it'll be a pretty competitive race, but Stephen Marsh looking to take out the last at Gate Par.
Nice one, thanks, Stephen. Cameron Lammas not riding, Brendan. So Anna Jones, a nice pickup ride for her in the last.
It is. Imelda Mary's a really good pickup ride, isn't it? Obviously, co-owner of the 7-horse, and let me tell you, has clearly got involved in having a little bit of a bet here in Brendan McCallum, because it's down to $3.40 off the back of a really good run last time to the races, though. So probably no surprise that she has taken the weight of money to move it towards favourite in the race. Look, I do like Imelda Mary. Look, I know it's a horse that is still on a path towards the 1,000 guineas. This is a race that I'm going to show you here from last time to the races with Imelda Mary, where you really do need to just ignore what's in front of you here, because the horse who wins this race wins by nearly 8 lengths in shine and gets a really great run in the race, comes under the rail because the leader starts to just roll off, and it really opens up for shine. While Imelda Mary is a horse who copped a lot of checks down the side of the racetrack here, probably around by the golf course, and took a long time to clear air. So you can probably look at the race book and think, gee, it's been beaten 8 lengths, but it just hasn't had the sweetest run in the race and has still run a big run into second position. She's knocking on the door, Imelda Mary. She really is. She's a horse that qualified for the Karaka Million, and even her run in the Karaka Million, where she beat around 4 or 5 horses home, still wasn't that bad. I was happy to be on her today in the last race, and as you said, a nice pickup ride for Anna Jones. So yeah, mark the 6 on top in front of 9, 7 and 1. Let's have a look at a strategy for today before we hear from Bevan Sweeney, who's looking after the racing out of Fielding. Strategy this afternoon. Look, we're going to go around Imelda Mary as my best bet today. I went with Lurker Steel as a little knockout hope today in race number 5, chasing that 10s and 3s price, probably leading towards more the place of around $3. So I'll probably weight my bet towards that way. And then the strategy today, I'm going to play Al Craftsman in race number 2, 40 to win on that run. A Lurker Steel, 10 each way in race number 5, and Imelda Mary in race 8, 40 to win. I'd be happy to take the $4 on offer as well, to be honest with you, Matthew, with that change in prices there in the last. That's a look at our 8-race card. As, of course, we'll play a very minor role considering what's happening across the Tasman, but still some very nice racing to look forward to, and we do have some Group 1 performers here on the track out of Tauranga.